Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Dork Entertainment. We've got a very special podcast for you today. We've got podcast number 2. I've got some special guests with me who are already connected, one who's already laughing. I'd just like to introduce, we've got here Mr. Amit and Christian Kiss. Welcome, guys, to the podcast number 2 for Dork Entertainment. We've got a couple of topics we're going to talk about today. We'll just jump right into it. First of all, we're going to talk about video games which have been converted into movies. Now, probably over the last decade or two, there's been quite a few video games. I mean, we've grown up with playing video games throughout our lives, and we've seen them come into film format. We're just going to have a chat about some of the ones that have been successful, some of the ones that haven't been so successful, and just some of the experiences we've gone through with some of those movies. So I'll start off, I just put the question out there. Can you guys name some video game movies that you've seen we'll talk about the worst ones first. Some of the worst video game movies that you have ever seen.
I think 3 I can think of. Assassin's Creed. I really enjoyed the game, but the movie was pretty shit. Hitman had promise in it.
Hitman was a good game.
But Hitman 2, for some reason, I enjoyed. Hitman, 47? I sort of enjoyed that, but yeah.
What about you, Chris? Can you think of any video game movies?
I don't know. For some reason, I'm thinking of Final Fantasy VII. They made into a movie, but it was like a CGI movie.
That was a 3D CGI. I remember that.
Yeah, it was. I don't know. It wasn't memorable because I can't remember what the story was about. But it was nice, like the animations and all that. It was pretty bad, but I think I'm mixing it up now. I was thinking Dragon Ball Z when they made that into a live action, but that's not a game. Well, kind of.
Yeah, that's converted.
Yeah, I never saw that.
That was terrible, though.
Did you guys ever watch Gears? Did you guys ever watch Gears of War? Was that good?
I didn't watch it.
I don't think there was a Gears of War movie.
He probably played the game and he thought that was a movie.
Well, you probably dreamt about it, right? Because it'd be a pretty good movie.
No, I don't know. Yeah.
I thought there was a Gears of War movie.
I think there
Wasn't there?
There was a lot of movie cutscenes in the game, which made it feel like a movie. I don't think there actually was a movie yet. Or they're planning to make one, maybe.
Get that. I think I'm getting that mix of World of Warcraft.
Warcraft, yes. There was a Warcraft movie. That was all CGI as well, wasn't it? I think that was all CGI.
I didn't watch it, so I can't really comment.
It was all right. It was okay. I mean, I didn't play much Warcraft, but it was okay. Going back a long way back, I'm just going to go back to... Do you guys remember Super Mario Brothers?
Yes.
Yes.
Super Mario Brothers movie.
That was 80s, right? Way back in the 80s.
Late 80s, early 90s.
That was, yeah. It was enjoyable. I haven't watched it since then. But when I saw it as a kid, that was enjoyable. Yeah,
at that time, I found that quite enjoyable. But looking back on it, you just think Yoshi is supposed to be this cuddly, dinosaur character, and he's like a velociraptor baby type dinosaur in the movie, and Bowser is like a human, you know what I mean? Like half human, or whatever he was. It wasn't that great. The main characters, I thought they were played pretty well. They looked the part. Was it John Leguizamo? He played Luigi, and Mario looked the part. I mean, they looked like the same sort of characters. There was also...
I really can't remember. I can't remember the movie very well.
It's been
I remember watching it. I know the characters, but I don't really remember the movie.
What about Mortal Kombat? Do you remember Mortal Kombat? That was one of my favorite games.
Yeah, that was good.
That was a pretty good movie.
Along with Tomb Raider and Mortal Kombat, they were my 2 video game to movie.
Are you talking about the old Tomb Raider movie or the reboot?
Yeah, one with Angelina.
Okay. Yeah, that was pretty good.
Yeah.
For a lot of reasons.
If we watch it now, it's pretty shithouse, but,
Well, they did the reboot not long ago.
Yeah, I never saw that. Was that good?
It was actually pretty good. I liked it. I enjoyed it. It wasn't as... if you compare it to the old one was a bit more cheesier, but a lot of older movies are cheesier compared to the newer movies. Now they make it more, or try to make it more realistic.
More serious almost.
Yeah, like closer to reality than video game. There was
That's
also
not reality. We're always pretty not serious, aren't we?
true.
We're pretty cheeky.
Yeah. What about so Mortal Kombat was okay. What about Mortal Kombat Annihilation? That was the sequel that they made.
That was
a pretty bad movie.
That was bad. That was bad.
I didn't see that one actually.
Acting was bad and characters were terrible. Makeup was terrible. I just don't know what they were doing with that movie.
It's like money was thrown at them and said, "Hey, go make a movie."
Yeah. There was a lot of I think there was a lot of fan service. So they tried to jam in as many characters as possible, but it just didn't work. It was terrible. I guess more recently,
have you guys seen the new Sonic? Was that good? Is that good?
Sonic, have you seen that, Chris?
I haven't seen it yet. I've only seen the trailers. But I remember the whole sort of hoo-ha about them making a weird-looking Sonic, and then they went back and had to redesign that.
Yeah.
But from what I heard, I haven't seen it personally, but from what I heard, it's pretty sort of, I don't know, it feels more to kids, so it's a bit lame for maybe adults. I don't know.
I think
it wasn't really high on my radar to watch.
I think the original design, they did try to do the same thing with try to make it a bit more realistic, and just didn't work. So they went back to the original design, and it was actually an alright movie. It was good. It was a good kids/family movie. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't really for us video game fans who played Sonic all those years ago. You do get that little bit of nostalgia, but it's more of a kids movie.
What about Street Fighter? I really enjoyed Street Fighter.
Dude, Street Fighter. Did you enjoy that?
What were we? Maybe 11, 12 years old when we watched that movie for the first time. So, yeah, I enjoyed that.
It was good at the time, I got to say. At the time, it was good because, yeah, you're right. We were that age. But now, I guess when we analyze it, I mean, Van Damme was a terrible guile compared to the video game. I mean, I'm talking about in closeness to the video game. Dhalsim was a scientist in that who looked nothing like Dhalsim. Do you know what I mean? Like, back then, it was a really enjoyable movie. But now, when you look back, it was, you think, wow, what were they doing? That's one movie.
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it, since... When was it released? Like 996, 994 or something? So, yeah.
That'd be 90s. I reckon that'd be a good movie for a reboot. Because they are actually rebooting Mortal Kombat. There is another Mortal Kombat movie coming.
Yeah, the guy that made Fast and Furious? Is he doing it?
I think he's producing it. I'm not sure if he's directing it, but James Wan, he is producing, I think.
So are they gonna get a pretty good cast for this movie, or is it gonna be like low budget, low cast type of thing?
So far, most of the cast that I've seen are new names, so it's not going to be like known names. I mean, like as in like famous big blockbuster movie stars. I think there's just going to be a couple of new names and a couple of like relatively unknown actors. So yeah, I mean James Wan, he's usually pretty good with his material, and he's a fan of Mortal Kombat. So let's see what he can do with that. Pikachu. Pokemon Detective Pikachu recently as well. I thought that was a pretty good movie.
Yeah, I liked that. It was enjoyable.
Like the CG was pretty good, I got to say. The CGI. And yeah, it had a good story, got a good twist in the
Ryan
end.
Reynolds as Pikachu was amazing.
Pretty funny.
Yes. Spoiler alert. Thanks a bit. For everyone who hasn't seen it, Ryan Reynolds is Pikachu.
But it's been out for a year, hasn't it?
Like that, yeah.
I don't know. Have you seen it, Chris?
No, I only watched like half of it or something. It wasn't too bad. I enjoyed it, but
the CGI pretty good, I got to say, and
the CGI looked nice.
And for a Pokemon movie,
Sis actually worked on it like in the studios back over in Canada, so that was kind of cool.
Oh, nice, nice.
Yeah, like in background animation and whatever.
So, I mean, the only movies we've really got were animated movies for Pokemon before that. So to see a fully fledged CG movie with real life characters as well, I thought it was pretty good. There was Rampage. Do you guys remember Rampage? Starring The Rock.
Is that a game? I didn't even know that was a game.
It's a really old school game. I think it was on Sega.
Okay.
It's a really old school game, so that's what it was based on. There's the big gorilla, there's the big crocodile, and there was something else, the big wolf.
Was the movie good?
It was a typical rock action movie, so it wasn't the best. But, Resident Evil is another one that's been converted to
that
movies.
Wasn't too bad. Yeah.
Those are pretty good, but I think it dragged a bit. It got to part 7 or something, didn't it? With the main character Mila Jovovich.
Yeah, I lost track of it after the first 4 or something.
Yeah, it's right.
Yeah, first 3 was okay.
And Doom. Do you guys remember Doom?
I remember the game, but I don't remember the movie.
So that was another.
Don't.
That had The Rock and I forgot the actor's name. He played Judge Dredd recently in the last Judge Dredd movie. Carl Urban.
Yeah, okay.
So that was pretty crap as well. I got to say that wasn't that great of a movie. So it's very rare you get a video game that's been converted to a movie that turns out to be a great success. Pikachu's probably Pikachu's probably the exception. Because that was pretty successful, but it's very rare. And it's very risky for studios to go ahead with these sort of productions, knowing that they might not recoup their money. But you never know. Look, Mortal Kombat, they did also make a web series. I don't know if you guys watched it on YouTube. That was excellent. I thought that was really good.
I never watched that. How do you get that?
It was on YouTube, so it might still be on YouTube. I think it's on Blu-ray as well now, probably.
Okay.
But it was, I think, a 10-part, 8 to 10-part series. And I'm telling you, Amit, you watch that. That is freaking awesome. Like that.
So what was the story about that? Was it like origin story or?
It was sort of like Origins. It was episodic. So it was short films. And it starts off with the Scorpion and Jax character. Jax is played by the actor who played Spawn. I forgot his name. But yeah, he plays it pretty well. You got to watch it. It starts off with Scorpion. Actually, I won't say too much because you'll enjoy it. Trust me, it is pretty good.
Well, now we're in isolation. We can watch a lot of TV. Hey?
Well, that's right. I'm going to talk about. We're going to move on. So thanks for discussing.
What about Prince of Persia? Did you guys like Prince of Persia? Look, I enjoyed the game. The movie wasn't bad.
Movie was that's the problem. A lot of these movies are just about okay. Prince of Persia is a very
forgettable sometimes.
Yeah, like Prince of Persia is a classic PC game as well.
It's the only game I've ever clocked.
But the movie, I got to say, it was okay. Like that was, what was it? Sands of Time, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was okay. It wasn't the greatest movie, but yeah, you know what I mean. Like you're not missing out on much if you haven't watched it. Yeah, so that's the main video game. I'm hoping in the future they do make better video game movies. There's so many reboots happening. So I guess Mortal Kombat, that upcoming Mortal Kombat movie, is taking a big risk. Doing it into a movie. But let's see how it goes, eh?
Didn't they have a Mortal Kombat Street Fighter Chun-Li movie just recently?
I think there was something. It was based around Chun-Li's character, but they make some of these movies. They make them very like teeny boppy sort of movies, and I don't know. It just doesn't work. I don't think I ever watched that movie.
Okay.
So I mean, let's hope for the best, eh? We don't know what we're going to get with Mortal Kombat, but let's hope it turns out to be good. We don't even know when it's going to release now. It's moving on to the next topic, sort of a segue into that. We're going to be talking about upcoming movies. So the release dates, of course, have shifted because of everything that's happening with COVID-19. I'm going to give you guys a bit of the schedule that's happening. Just yell out, if there's any of these that you are looking forward to. And
Gran Turismo. They're making a Gran Turismo movie. I'm looking out for that.
When's that coming out? Gran Turismo?
I think it's in post-production. I don't know how they're going to put a plot line to that movie, but that'll be pretty cool.
Do you know who stars in that movie?
I'll have to go Google out, but no. Let me find out.
That sounds pretty good. So Mortal Kombat we're talking about Mortal Kombat a little bit earlier. Mortal Kombat will be releasing on January the 15th, 2021. So this is the 2021 release schedule. A lot of movies have been shifted. I'm not even going to look at 2020 releases that are still there because they'll probably be shifted as well. But Mortal Kombat is the first sort of big movie coming out in 2021. Peter Rabbit 2 also comes out on the same date apparently. So that's the main ones for January. February we've got Eternals from Marvel.
So what's that about? What's that story about?
Actually, you know what? I don't really know because it's new characters in the Marvel universe. I never really watched.
So this is the phase. What phase are we up in the Marvel universe?
Oh,
like phase 2 now or phase 3?
That's a good question, Mr. Sen. Let me just have a look. So Eternals is I don't know if you guys used to read comics. Is that right, Amit?
Yeah.
Were they ever in the comics? Like, did you ever see them in the comic?
Yeah.
books?
Well, by the time I stopped reading those comic, those were the characters when I stopped reading them. So I stopped when Madam Web stepped into Spider-Man's land, and when they had that collaboration with X-Men.
Okay.
Yeah.
Apparently it's phase 4. So that's the one starring Angelina Jolie.
Okay.
Yeah, she's in that. There's an M. Night Shyamalan movie coming out. Chris, I'm sure you'll enjoy that.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of his movies for a long time, actually. So I didn't mind his movies. Things always got like twists and stuff. So yeah.
What was his last movie? That it had Professor X in it, right? His last movie. He had like different personalities. Just, was that M. Night Shyamalan movie?
Yeah, it was.
That was pretty good.
What was that guy? What was it called? That was a pretty good movie. We had like 20 different
Unbreakable? No.
It was part of that universe.
Yeah.
He did a sequel with Mr. Glass from Unbreakable and Bruce Willis in that as well, but I forgot what it's called now. But it was Samit's going to kill me because that's one of his favorite movies. So we had Matrix 4 coming out as well. Split, that's it.
Yeah.
That was a pretty good movie. So before that, Shyamalan, I loved his older movies, including Signs, Sixth Sense, Unbreakable. Some of those movies were really, really good.
What about Last Airbender? That was terrible. M. Night Shyamalan.
Yeah, he should really stick to suspense and horror.
Yeah.
That's where he sort of excels.
His Saw mark.
Matrix 4 was scheduled as well for March next year. I
haven't really looked into that.
See, I was never a Matrix fan. I could never get that bloody movie. I've watched it like twice.
Yeah, Matrix is pretty good.
I could never get it. Anyway.
It was interesting.
I actually don't know much about this.
Frustrating. It was one of those movies that frustrated me because I didn't know what to make of it. The Matrix.
You watch it.
What was your favorite part of the Matrix, Chris?
I don't know. I think that's the whole sort of having this alternate universe where people just come to reality with like what they're living in wasn't like the true sort of the way things were. So I don't know. It was kind of this parallel universe and everyone was sucked into it. And I just like that sort of concept generally for movies. There's a few movies like that I don't mind.
Inception. How good is Inception?
That's like another sort of similar sort of, I guess, genre in a way.
See, I can get that movie, but Matrix, oh my god. Yeah, so...
It was interesting when you watch The Matrix because a lot of it was shot in Sydney. So seeing some of the sites in Sydney, the initial scenes of The Matrix Part 1, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, all the buildings around Sydney and all that back in the day. That came out ages ago, the originals.
It's as old as your hi-fi system, Chris, behind you.
Yeah, high-tech, man.
Yeah, and the iPod. Holy shit, man. How old is that fucking iPod?
Is it an iPod?
Yeah, it's an iPod Classic, bro.
Oh, does it still work?
Got no charge on that at the moment, but yes.
It does still work.
Still works.
Wow.
It still works. It's still got some songs on it. I barely use it because of Spotify and whatnot, but, you know.
Because I've seen a few. I mean, just we're going a bit off topic, but I've seen a few people with iPods. Over time, the battery sort of deteriorates, and they've replaced the battery. They've put new batteries, and it works perfect.
It works. It drains fast, but
yeah,
still original battery.
Nice.
Yeah.
You know, your phones can do the same thing now.
That's what I was saying. I use Spotify now.
But you know what? Our phone's doing too much. Like,
No.
because the other day, I usually just look up some gadgets that might be interesting. But I was looking up more and more music only, or music with a video screen only players. There's a few new players out there that are similar to the iPod, but like a better screen, obviously now.
Sony still makes their Walkman versions, I think.
Yeah, so it was a Walkman as well. But it was like an MP3 player with video. So they still do that. Yeah, people are still interested.
Apple still make iPod touches, but I mean, who buys that? It's like an old iPhone 4 or whatever.
Yeah. Man, you got Spotify, you got all these streaming services. It's like everything's on your fingertips. Those things are obsolete, I reckon.
Right.
What? You're not going to sit there and just download music where you can just
Other
stream
than
it.
the NBN goes there and you haven't downloaded any of it.
What about your dial-up behind you, Chris? Seriously.
Well, everything's streaming these days, eh?
Yeah, videos, movies.
So do you have cassettes still? Sorry, we're going off topic, but do you still have cassettes, Chris?
I still got some old cassettes from the old days.
Is it hooked up?
That one, I had it powered up because my sister actually wanted to record something off the cassette onto the computer, like when she was visiting. So it's hooked up because of that. Otherwise, the power wasn't on there.
You still do late night karaoke?
It's got a free disc, CD changer as well.
Oh, mate.
Really high tech, man. And the CD player plays MP3s, right? So I can burn my music onto MP3s and listen to hours of music, not just 80 minutes, bro. Anyway, way off topic.
What's the black thing? What's the black thing that was the iPod was on? What's that black thing, Chris?
What black thing?
On your.
Why are you asking me about what? Like, isn't
I want to see what other ancient things you have behind you.
That's a hi-fi receiver, but it's like an old one. Like you can plug in a surround sound system to it. I don't think it's got HDMI, so that's how old it is.
Dude, I tell you, there's like TVs these days. They don't have with Venom and Spider-Man. The issue was, it's in regards to the rights because Sony owns Venom, right?
But Sony owns Spider-Man as well right now.
Sony owns Spider-Man, but it's been leased out to Marvel. So that's where it gets a bit complicated. Sony, I think there was something planned, but then the rights, because Marvel then decided they're going to make another movie as well. So the rights it's all up in the air at the moment. I think that it would be a good idea, but I think there's a lot to do in the Venom movie still before they sort of get into the Spider-Man thing. There was rumors that Spider-Man the actor was on the set of Venom. So there may be a cameo or something. At the end of the day, Sony does own the rights to both of the characters. Spider-Man, the problem is it's sort of lent out to Marvel again, which is funny because Marvel are the original owners of the character anyway. So the whole thing with that is it's a bit of a mess. That's why it's good that
legal mess.
Yeah, it's good that they've actually Disney bought back all the Fox characters like X-Men characters and stuff like that from Fox. So they'll be using that again in their movies.
Because Disney now owns Marvel.
That's right. So Disney owns Marvel, and Disney now owns Fox's Fox. Pretty much, they pretty much bought out Fox. And Fox, Fox had the character rights for X-Men, Fantastic Four, and a few of the other Marvel.
Oh man, Fantastic Four! What a
Pretty forgettable one.
I'm a big fan of Fantastic Four. Those comic books are amazing. Silver Surfer, and all the Fantastic Four villains are pretty amazing, but how you can butcher that? I thought that's one franchise where you can thrive.
Yeah, I can't believe they haven't translated that into, because there's such good characters in that comic and cartoon. They haven't
Maybe it'll be a
translated
future
that across.
reboot.
Well, the most recent reboot. Did you guys watch the most recent reboot of Fantastic Four?
I switched it off after 40 minutes, man. It was, didn't enjoy it.
Like there was, I think halfway. Well, it's funny because I thought it was the opposite. Actually, I thought halfway up, up to halfway of the movie, it was pretty good, and it just went downhill. It just it was a different movie in the second half. Like, just like, what the hell am I watching? You know what I mean? Like, it was that bad. Hopefully, they can do something again with this new, with Disney buying all of Fox's properties back. So,
are they gonna go through another Fantastic Four debacle? Or
well, they're going through it. They're going to remake it. They're going to remake it, definitely. I think that some of the characters from X-Men and Fantastic Four and then the other Fox 8 entities, they will appear in other Marvel movies before that, I reckon. So you might see.
So they're going to use like Madam Web to bring them all together, type of thing.
Yeah, Although they'll have special appearances, I think, in other movies. So
because that was amazing. Yeah, the cartoons of it.
So Suicide Squad, that's coming out next year. It's like a reboot / sequel. So it's got the actress from Harley, who played Harley Quinn. Margot, she's in there, but there's quite a few actors.
Will Smith?
No, he's not in there. They've changed the actor, or I don't know if the character.
See, I found Will Smith. What was his character? He suited the character.
He did,
and I found Margot pretty good, but everyone else,
I don't know.
50,
it was
50.
Did you watch the trailer and think, you know what? Like, the trailer's pretty good, music and stuff, but the whole movie was like a trailer. You know what I mean? There was like loud music and action. There was no real.
Birds of Prey was pretty enjoyable though.
Okay, I never really watched that. I didn't have the guts to watch that movie.
It was pretty enjoyable, yeah. Well, it's because I had zero expectations going into it, but it was pretty enjoyable. Can't make anything out of it, but yeah.
So Will Smith was Deadshot.
Deadshot, that's it.
That's it.
See, that's coming out. That's actually directed by the Guardians of the Galaxy director.
Ooh, okay. Switching codes.
Well, do you remember there was a time there was that issue with something that he put on Twitter like 10 years ago, and Disney sort of fired him off the set, or fired him from all the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. So he left, right? He then did the unthinkable and went to DC. So he then signed the contract to do the Suicide Squad movie. Apparently it's all resolved now, and apparently he's coming back to do Marvel movies again. So this is the one movie we're going to see, from that director that's going to be interesting. So it could be good. Like, he's a good director. I really enjoyed Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah. But the guy that directed Thor is much better. The Kiwi guy.
Yeah, Taiki Wakiti.
That movie was amazing.
Did you guys enjoy Doctor Strange?
Yeah.
Too bad.
Yeah, suited the comic book.
Yeah.
It was well done.
And Cumberbatch was pretty good, I gotta say.
Yeah.
The sequel is coming out in November. So in the multiverse,
same cast, same directors,
same actor, but it's. I mean, this is the multiverse of madness. So I'm guessing it would be good if we got some Fantastic Four X-Men characters in that. That's the one way they could possibly introduce them in the multiverse of madness. I reckon that'd be good. So yeah, there's not much in December. We've got Avatar. Avatar 2 was supposed to come out next year. So Avatar was supposed to... that's been delayed quite a lot, the Avatar sequels. But Avatar 2 was supposed to come out in December. I don't know if it's going to get delayed any further. and Black Adam starring The Rock. So that's the schedule for 2021. A lot of movies have been pushed because they were scheduled initially.
What about James Bond?
I don't know where James Bond is now. Like, is that still coming out maybe at the end of this year? Because some movies they moved, but they just moved towards the end of the year. They haven't moved them to next year.
Okay.
I'll just have a quick look. Are you looking forward to the new James Bond movie?
Yes.
12th of November.
Good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's scheduled for this year. But who knows?
Are you a James Bond fan, Chris?
Yeah, I don't mind a good James Bond movie. Like, I've seen, not all of them, but I've seen quite a few of them in recent times. I think I haven't watched the last one with Daniel Craig. Yeah. But
what do you think of Daniel? What do you think of Daniel as James Bond?
I didn't mind him. I thought he was kind of sort of a hard, sort of gritty character. He's sort of again, it goes back to what you were saying before a little bit. Like, so if you watch some of the earlier ones, it's almost a little bit more cheesy and different sort of style. Back in the, like, if you've watched any of the older ones, like in the 70s and whatever, and 60s with Sean Connery and Roger Moore and whatever. But yeah, no, I liked it. I thought like it's like a more serious sort of theme. And, I don't know,
Speaking of which, the actress who played Pussy Galore died recently. She passed away.
Okay.
I think she was aged 94. She was 94. I think she was 94. I'm not sure.
19. Yeah.
1994. I'm thinking retro still, Chris. You got me back in 1994. I think she was aged 94. But yeah, I don't think it was because of COVID. It was just, I think, other general health issues. I've got to say, James Bond, you can't compare it to the old James Bond movies. Do you know what I mean?
That's pretty different.
Like, there was a certain style and, get up of James Bond and the actors in the old movies, whereas Daniel Craig.
Yeah, but if you compare the James Bond movies of each era, it sort of adapts to its audience. Sean Connery of his era, that's what the society wanted, so that's the way that went. Then Roger Moore came, was a different demographics that tried to apply that same viewing for them. Timothy Dalton was that in between because they couldn't sign Pierce Brosnan because he had to finish his TV career in England. And then when Pierce came in, it came into middle 90s. They had a maybe 6 years gap. So James Bond sort of has evolved with its demographics and things. So you can't really compare each James Bond movie to the last. So now this new age James Bond, I think the movies were getting darker and a little bit more serious. Those action movies of the last decade or before that has sort of worn out. And then Christopher Nolan came and he brought that little view of the cinema world and movies started becoming dark. So when Daniel Craig came into the whole plot, that's what viewers wanted to see, and that's how James Bond sort of evolved into a darker character. So less sexist, less not a lot of suave, a little bit of suave, but not those cheesy pickup lines where you saw Sean Connery, because that's what the viewers back in the 60s, 70s, that's how they used to play life.
So James Bond, you're saying, has been moving with the times, is that right?
Yeah.
There was rumors of Idris Elba playing Bond. Would that have been too radical?
No, it's just well, James Bond's a franchise where it has evolved with time. It would be 5 years here or there, but it's evolved with its viewers type of thing. And so if Black James Bond came upon, it just has. It's just.
Well, they've got Black Captain America coming out soon, the TV show.
Okay, yeah.
I'd say it's pretty much like you say with the times.
I wouldn't mind a female Bond, it is what it is.
Well, I think the trailers were hinting at a female Bond as well, which I think they might do a spin-off of the James Bond series with a female Bond.
I've heard something along those lines. Yeah. So
I think Idris Elba would have been pretty. He's got that suaveness of.
Well, this is Daniel's last movie.
Oh, is it? Okay.
They couldn't agree. They couldn't agree on the moolah or a perfect plot line for bringing a new Bond into this. So this is Daniel's last movie, and I think they will have a little bit of a gap before the next Bond comes around, just like how they did with Pierce. And when he made the Golden Eye, it was like about a 7-year gap before that movie, from that last James Bond to Pierce. So I think it'll be something like that. So
interesting. Okay.
Yeah. But this Bond's going to be good. It's just going to be reflective of what Bond is like. Daniel's retired, and Felix, his best mate from the CIA, is gonna needs assistance, and yeah, it's the type of Bond Bond lovers would like to see.
Interesting. So yeah, that's pretty much the amount of. There's a lot of movies coming out. You can imagine, because the movies have been shifted now, including Bond. It's all going to be sort of pushed into that one area. I don't know if next year's movies will be affected, if they'll get pushed forward as well. But if they're not, can you imagine from whenever this lockdown finishes, say November, for example, all the way across till next year? Do
you reckon people will be going to the movies?
I don't think people will go straight away. What about you guys? Like, I wouldn't be rushing to the cinema.
I would imagine Disney streaming their movies. I think the way Netflix are very ahead of their time. I think then streaming their service, people watching in their living rooms when they like the convenience of it, and getting money by the views, by the streams from around the world.
Disney released Onwards. That was an animated movie which was scheduled to come out. They've released that on Disney Plus. So
yeah. So look, I got Disney Plus. I'm a big fan. The only reason I got it is because, the Marvel universe type of thing. So
I recommend Disney Plus. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I think the entertainment world will evolve with this little situation, and I think more and more people will be able to watch movies sooner than later on their streaming devices. I would think. That's what I think. I think it's the best way to capitalize on people that don't have a lot of money to go out to the movies or are a bit afraid. This is just my opinion, but yeah.
What about you, Chris? After this whole, not just movies, I guess, getting things back to normal after lockdown, including going to the cinema, like, is that something that you do straight away, or would you be a bit more cautious and wait a bit?
I guess it depends on how things pan out, but I mean, definitely we're wanting to get out and about after being stuck in a sort of house and going on shopping or whatever for so long. But I don't know if I'd be rushing for the cinema immediately and getting in the dark space with all these people. But I mean, getting out there, the restaurants or whatever, definitely that would be up on the list. But eventually, yeah, I don't see why not. Maybe not straight away though.
Yep. Look, I just want to say, I think that's pretty much it. That's all we can discuss for today.
What are your thoughts, Vinay? What do you reckon the future of the movie industry?
Oh, mate, I got to tell you, I think that there's going to be a lot of production houses that, or productions that will be cancelled, in my opinion, because a lot of these companies, especially the smaller indie movies who have booked places, have bookings in place for shootings, etc., they're going to lose a lot of money. We might see
so people like Trop Fest and the Cannes movie festivals and things like that. Yeah,
they're going to struggle. I think they're going to rely maybe on bigger production houses to help, like step in and buy out their movies that they've got in there, or there must be some sort of negotiation there that happens. I think that the bigger production houses will be okay. Still, they'll have losses, but I think they'll recoup that when movies do start coming out. Because I was just thinking, think about that in terms of Hollywood, but I'm just thinking also in terms of Bollywood as well, because there's a lot of people in India who watch Indian movies, a lot of people around the world who watch Indian movies. That's all stopped right now. And when something new comes out, when something exciting comes out, they rush to the cinema. And imagine 6 months without a movie, like somewhere in India, for example. People will rush to the first thing that comes out. So can you imagine these Hollywood movies as well? Release timing is important, because if they release it too early after lockdown, people might not go. If they release it,
half of the population will have no money to go watch the movies in the cinemas. They'll have to reduce the prices.
And what will the cinemas do? Will they increase the prices at that time to cut? Yeah, because they've obviously had losses as well with people not going to the cinema for a long period, right? Are they going to increase prices, or are they going to reduce prices to try to get more people back into the cinema? You know what I mean? It could go either way. I think it's going to be tough. Huh? I think it's going to be tough, but I think entertainment industry is just one part of life. I think that it will recover, just like everything else.
Oh yeah, everything will recover. It'll just take time.
So that's my thoughts. I think that we'll eventually get there. I think a lot of things will move towards streaming, like you said.
It needs to, right? It's just it's on everyone's fingertips.
Yeah, and people that used to go out a lot, or people who didn't go out a lot at all, who started going out a lot, I think that they'll sort of go back into the shell. Do you know what I mean? There'll be a lot of people still, even after this is over, people will still be still have that cautious mind and still be staying at home. You know what I mean? It's going to be tough for people to get back out there, I feel, eventually, when it does finish. And that'll take time for people to sort of come back out of their shells, in my opinion. So, yeah, that's pretty much, all we have time for today in our discussion. Thank you so much, Amit, and thank you, Chris, for coming on. And
have you seen Quiet Place 2?
Quiet Place 2, no, it hasn't come out yet. That actually got delayed. That was due to come out, I think, the week we went into lockdown.
Oh, okay.
Around that time, then they pushed the release back. I don't know where that is at the moment. I think September. I'm not sure. But did you enjoy Quiet Place 1? We watched that recently again. When we went on that trip.
Yeah. It wasn't bad, actually. Yeah, it wasn't bad.
Have you seen that, Chris?
I haven't seen that one, no. Recommended viewing, is it?
It's pretty good. It's quite suspenseful. And you need quiet in the wherever you watch it. When I actually went to watch A Quiet Place in the cinema, this lady right next to me had a plastic bag. Inside that plastic bag, she had chips, a packet of chips, and she was just making so much noise. And A Quiet Place, there's no dialogue really for the first 20 minutes or half an hour or so. So you can imagine how frustrating that was. But it's a good movie. I recommend it. But A Quiet Place.
Are they going to make Are they going to make any more Star Wars and things like that? Or that's it?
Nah, there'll be more Star Wars movies, definitely. They're not going to stop. It'll be a different story. It won't be the Skywalker saga, but it'll be a different story. But there'll definitely be more Star Wars. Either they're going to jump forward.
Because Han Solo and all those, sideshow crap was terrible.
Either they're going to jump forward in time, like 1,000 years or whatever, or they're going to go all the way back, maybe like Knights of the Old Republic or Darth Plagueis, sort of like where it all began. I think that would be pretty cool to watch.
I didn't mind the last Star Wars. That was good. That was a good movie. And I rewatched it in Disney, which is good.
I didn't like when they kissed at the end, though. The main characters. No.
Okay.
You enjoyed it? You didn't find that awkward?
Oh, I didn't make anything of it. Yeah, it was alright.
Because there was no build-up, no romantic build-up. Only just kissed after she came back to life. Anyway. So, Amit, is there anything else you want to discuss before we try to end this podcast?
Nah, that's about it. If I think of something, I'll let you know.
Oh, what about that movie?
No, seriously. But thank you guys so much for coming on to the Dork Entertainment Podcast. We hope you'll join us again sometime. Thanks,
Ladies and
guys.
gentlemen, welcome to Dork Entertainment.
Thanks, guys, for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe, and leave a comment below. And we'll be bringing you more podcasts with different guests and some of the same guests as well, if you guys want to be on this again.
Because Vinay's never going to get us back.
Yeah, we're not invited back. No.
They'll be back. They'll be back. They'll be back. Trust me, they'll be back. Please like, share, and
He's a
subscribe,
dictator.
and comment below, and we shall see you in the next video. Peace.